Hello students, I am Mrs. Minakshi Godbole from Ferguson College, Pune. In this lecture series, I shall be talking about operating system, a topic from the syllabus of 12th Standard Vocational Computer Science Paper 1. Students, you must be knowing that Vocational Computer Science Paper 1 consists of 4 topics: operating system, C++, data structures, and HTML. Let's start now. Before we start with the actual topic, let us see the distribution of marks in the paper for all the topics. As I said, there are total 4 topics: operating system, data structures, C++, and HTML. Students, you know that vocational computer science paper 1 is of 100 marks. 50 marks are for practicals and 50 marks are for theory. For the theory paper of 50 marks, there will be total questions of 94 marks including options. And for operating system, the total marks weightage is of 22 marks out of 94. There will be 1 question of 1 mark, 3 questions of 3 marks, 3 questions of 4 marks, and 5 marks programming question is not there for operating. Questions will be only for C++ and HTML. You can see the distribution of marks for other topics. So in all, there will be 94 marks and operating system weightage is 22 marks. So let us start with the topic directly. Students, what is an operating system? Have you ever noticed that what happens when we switch on our PC? Can we immediately start working on it? No, we have to wait for some time. We see a message, generally Windows is loading. Then Windows gets loaded and then only we can start our application software, we can create files and folders and work with it. So what is Windows? Windows is nothing but one kind of operating system. Now operating system is a system software that is an integrated set of system programs that controls the resources like CPU, memory, I/O devices, peripheral devices of the computer system. Students, recall what all things we can do with Windows. We can create files and folders, we can manage our data, we can run different application softwares, we can copy, paste, move our files, we can share the data and the hardware, etc., etc. So lots and lots of functions are performed by operating system. So it cannot be a single program. That is why it is said that it is an integrated set of system programs. There are many system programs integrated to create the operating system software. Operating system provides its user with an environment to work and acts as an interface between a user and hardware. Actually, hardware performs all the things, but we cannot directly give commands to hardware. We need some interface in between, we need some environment in between to interact with the hardware. And that interface is provided by the operating system. Remember that. Without any operating system, no computer can work. If there are many application softwares loaded in your computer, but there is no operating system, then you won't be able to work with any of the application softwares. There has to be some operating system to load the application softwares. Now examples of operating systems are DOS, Windows, there are many versions of Windows, Unix, Linux, Ubuntu, Mac OS for Apple machines, Solaris, Android for mobile systems, etc. So lots and lots of operating systems are available. This is the diagrammatic representation of what just I said. In the core you can see the hardware, and in the outer circle there are DBMS, that is database management systems, text editor, compilers, application programs and all such things. And in between operating system is there. All the application programs are run on the hardware with the help of operating system. Now let us see various functions of operating system. Just now I said it is an interface between a user and hardware. It helps to run application softwares. It also manages the storage and retrieval of data from storage devices like disk and main memory. It takes care of data security and confidentiality. That means we can set the passwords, etc. with the help of operating systems. Operating system provides facility to share the hardware. It does proper scheduling of resources among users, and it controls the execution of program or programs to prevent the errors. Students, you will have to remember these functions, as there could be a question that write various functions of operating system. Now, there are various types of operating system available. Which are they? Uniprogramming operating system, that is only one program can run at a time. DOS is an example, disk operating system. Nowadays, these operating systems are not used. Then batch processing operating systems, multi-programming or also known as single-user multitasking systems, multi-user or network systems, distributed systems, multi-threading, real-time, and multi-processing operating systems. As per our syllabus, students will be focusing only on multi-programming operating systems or single-user multitasking operating systems. As we have seen that lots and lots of functions are performed by or tasks are performed by operating systems, all these tasks are categorized in three different sections, and they are managed by three different components of operating system. First is information management module. IAM provides set of services used for storing, retrieving, modifying, and removing the information. Means organization of information and input output is handled by information management module. Second is process management, that is PM. Here, OS keeps track of all the running programs, that is processes. It schedules and runs them one after the other. And the third important module is memory management or MM. Services in MM keep track of all memory locations and are responsible for allocating and deallocating memory space to processes. This is the management of main memory or RAM. Now, whatever services are provided by operating system, as I said, they are categorized in three different components. So, under each component, what services or system calls are available? Let us see now. Under IAM, system calls available are create files or directories. Directory means nothing but a folder in terms of Windows. We call it as folder. And a general term is directory. Open files or explore directories. Then close a file. Read data from file to buffer. Write data from buffer to file. Delete, copy, or close files and directories. And change working directory. Now, services under PM are read a process, block a process, resume a process, terminate a process, suspend a process, delay a process, change priority of a process, and generate a process. All the things related to process management come under this module. Then system calls or services under memory management. Only two system calls are there. Allocate a chunk of memory to process and free chunk of memory from a process. So this is the memory. As I said, it is a RAM or main memory. Students, please remember all the services or system calls under each component, because there could be a question in the examination that write the system calls under MM or write the system calls under PM or IM. So remember this system calls. Now let us have an overview of three operating systems just for as an example. Windows 98, Windows NT, and Linux operating system. Let us start with the features of Windows 98. Windows 98 is an operating system released by Microsoft Corporation in 1998. That is why the name Windows 98. It is an upgrade to earlier operating system version Windows 95. It is a single user multitasking system. It is a mixed 16-bit 32-bit Windows operating system. Next feature is very important, that it is very user friendly. There are many features of Windows 98 which make it user friendly. Let's see some of them. It displays tooltip text. Means what? If we take a pointer, mouse pointer on any tool in the toolbox, it displays a help text related to that tool. That is a tooltip. Then a file can be opened in Windows 98 on single click. Next feature is very important, that it's plug and play feature. It allows us to install a new hardware very easily and use it without restarting the computer. Students, you must have seen that whenever we attach a pen drive to the computer, what happens? We insert the pen drive in the port and immediately its driver gets loaded automatically and we can start using it immediately. We need not restart the computer. This is known as plug and play feature. It was introduced in Windows 98. Next feature is its easy system maintenance. Disk cleanup and Windows update features of Windows 98 make the system maintenance easier. Next is its web integration. Windows 98 first time included Internet Explorer in it, and along with that Internet Explorer, Outlook Express like applications also were included. Also, net meeting like features allow us to hold the conference calls and work with each other in groups. It also provides Active Desktop that can display the customized active web content continuously on the desktop instead of regular picture. So without loading the web page, you can see the contents continuously on the desktop. Now let us see the features of Windows NT. Students, again I am telling you that you can be asked in the examination a question related to the features of the operating systems. You can be asked, list down the features of Windows 98 or Windows NT, or list the features of Windows Linux, that will be seeing soon. So let's see the features of Windows NT. Windows NT is a multitasking, multi-user and multi-threading operating system. It is available in two editions, Workstation and Server. It's like a network operating system, that is why in two editions, Workstation and Server. It is a 32-bit operating system. Windows NT uses NTFS, that is New Technology File System, which is able to recover from disk errors automatically. Next feature of NT is it supports large sized hard disk and provides security like permissions and encryptions. It can run on any hardware platform. Next is Windows NT provides the facility to share operating system and hardware resources and software resources. As it is a network operating system, it allows the sharing. Windows NT Server Edition was designed to provide facility to log on the systems remotely. So these were the features of Windows NT. Now let us see the features of Linux operating system. First is it is multi-user. That means multiple users can access system resources like memory, RAM, application programs at the same time. Second is multi-programming. Linux is a multi-programming system, means multiple applications can run at the same time in Linux. It is portable, means it can run on different types of hardware in the same way. If hardware platform is changed, it doesn't mean that its working is changed. It runs in the same way. Next feature is it is open source. Means what? Linux source code is freely available and it is community based development project. Means it is not owned by a single person or a group or a company. Its development is community based, means anyone can add to the development of this project. Next feature is it uses hierarchical files, means a standard file structure to arrange the system files and user files. Its application support is the next feature. Linux allows users to download and install thousands of applications. It can also run Windows applications if needed. See, Windows is some different operating system, but sometimes Linux can support that you can run Windows based applications in Linux. Next feature is its security feature. Linux provides authentication features like password protection, controlled access to specific files. Live CD and USB feature. Means what? With this feature, user can run or try the Linux OS even without installing it on the system. Next is the graphical user interface. There are packages which can be installed to make the Linux OS graphics based like Windows. See students, Windows is a graphical user interface. See students, Windows is an operating system which has graphical user interface, and that is why it is so much popular in the world. Now, there are some packages which can be installed to make the interface of Linux graphics based just like Windows. The last point I have taken is it supports the customized keyboard. It supports different language keyboards. So these were all the features of Linux, and as I said, you have to prepare the features of all the three operating systems as they can be asked in the examination. Now students, I'll turn to the next point as information management system. As we have already discussed that there are three components of the operating system: information management module, process management module, and memory management module. So now let us see information management module in detail. What does IAM do? Information management module of OS provides set of services used for storing, retrieving, modifying, and deleting the information on various devices. It looks after organizing the information on storage devices and allocating and deallocating the sectors to various files. Means it takes care of all the organization of data and information on the secondary storage. It is mostly responsible for managing operations related to input and output of the information. See students, input means it can be the data entry from the keyboard, or it can be reading some record from the disk also. And output means it may be displaying something on the screen, or writing something on the disk, or it could be sending something for the printing to the printer. So IAM module of operating system takes care, or it is responsible for all the input and output of operations of the information. Now already we have seen various services provided by IAM. They are create files or directories, open files, close files, read data from file, write data to buffer, from buffer to file, delete, copy, close files, and change the working directory. So you have to remember all these services provided by IAM. Basically, how all these services are provided by IAM. It completes all these tasks with the help of two main parts, that is file system and device driver. So IAM comprises of two main things: file system, that is FS. It decides data is to read from which part of the disk or where to write on the disk. And device driver or DD, it is also known as device manager or DM. It is the device driver which actually instructs the controller of IO devices to read or write the data. So IAM completes all its tasks with the help of these two things, FS and DD. Let us see file system now. File system or FS. It allows users to create and modify different files and directories. It allocates and deallocates the disk space to the files. What is file? Basically, a file is a collection of correlated information which is stored on secondary storage device, commonly known as disk. OS maps files onto physical devices such as tapes or disks and uses various data structures for this. Now, while storing on the disk or on tapes the data, OS uses three different methods, that is allocation methods. Contiguous allocation means data is stored at continuous locations or sequentially. Then linked or chained allocation, and third method is indexed allocation. As there are three methods of storing data, there are three access methods. File access is a process that determines the way that the files are accessed and read into memory. So three access methods are sequential access method, direct access method, and index sequential access method. Now see the types of file systems. There are two file systems basically available. One is tape-based systems, which uses sequential access method, and second is disk-based system, which uses direct access method. Let us see now tape-based systems or magnetic tape. In the picture, you can see the magnetic tape. Magnetic tape is nothing but a reel of plastic ribbon. Now, this plastic ribbon material is coated with such a material that which can be magnetized and data can be stored on it. In the second picture, you can see the magnetic tape drive. The reel of magnetic tape is wound from one side to another and data is read or written sequentially on the tape. Magnetic tapes are used to store the data. They use sequential access method to read and write the data. They are simple but inefficient because the access method is sequential. Addition, deletion or modification of data is not easier. If data is written sequentially, if I want to add the data in between, it is not easier. I have to rewrite all the records or I have to write the data at the end. So addition, deletion and modification in this case are not easier. Nowadays, magnetic tapes are not used, but they are generally used to dump the data or transport the data. Now let us see disk-based systems, that is magnetic disks. Magnetic disks are divided into tracks and sectors. They use direct access method to read and write the data, and they are faster than tapes because the access is direct access. Addition, deletion and modification of data is easier in case of disk-based system. Example of disk-based systems are floppy disks and hard disks. Again, nowadays floppy disks are not used much, but we use hard disks everywhere. Students, now let us see the construction of the hard disk. This topic you have already covered in 11th standard, but let us revise it fast. Hard disk is not a single disk, but it is a collection of thin metal plates of equal size called as platters, which can be magnetized. See the diagram. Hard disk is a collection of different metallic plates known as platters, and all the platters are mounted on a single rod that is known as spindle. Now these platters are of same size. Platters are divided into concentric circles known as tracks, and tracks are further divided into sectors. Number of tracks and on each plate are same. Also, every plate's both surfaces are used for storing the data. So both surfaces are divided into tracks and sectors. Number of tracks on every surface is same, and number of sectors also on every surface of every plate is same. So you can say that all the disks are identical in terms of tracks and sectors. Now, track numbering is always done from the outermost track. See this picture. This is one surface of some plate, and the surface is divided into number of tracks, and every track is divided into sector. So you can be asked in the examination, right, what is track or what is sector in terms of magnetic disk. So draw the diagram and explain what is track and sector. Coming back to the construction of hard disk. As I said, both the surfaces of every plate are used for storing the data. So there are separate read-write heads for every surface to read or write the data. And all the read-write heads are mounted on a single arm assembly. This arm assembly can move inward or outward on the disk to select the track. Its job is to select the track by moving inside or outside. Now, whenever a data is to be written, an address is given. Data is to be written or read from the disk. An address is given which contains the number of track, or you can say track number, sector number and the surface number. Now when data is to be read or written, As per the track number given in the address, initially arm assembly moves inward or outward to select the track. It selects the track means every read-write head of respective surface is on that particular track number. After selection of track, then the spindle rod rotates to rotate the disc. All the discs rotate in the with the same speed in the same direction, and the sector number given in the address is adjusted below the read-write head. Then the surface number which is given in the address, that surface number is checked and the read-write head of that surface number gets activated and the data is read or written from that particular sector on that surface. So students, this was the first lecture, and in this lecture I completed the introduction to operating system and one component of operating system, information management module. Some points which are remaining from information management module, let us cover them in the next lecture. Thank you.